Although thousands of books have been written about it, World War II was an extraordinary period in modern history, and it still holds hundreds of secrets that have never been solved. In this new episode of Military History, we'll introduce you to some of the most interesting, sinister and terrible enigmas that still persist in the memory of those who are passionate about the most convulsive time of the 20th century. 1. Who ratted out Anne Frank? Anne Frank was one of the most famous victims of the oppressive Nazi regime. The girl of Jewish descent, along with her entire family and 4 other people, was forced to live hidden in a house in Amsterdam during one of the world's darkest times, and kept a journal in which she described the horrors and fears she experienced alongside her people, from the perspective of a 12-year-old girl who should be playing, not escaping from the gas chambers. However, on the morning of August 4, 1944, the security police broke down the door of the house where the Franks were hiding. An anonymous call alerted the Nazis to the presence of the Jewish family. The girl was sent to Auschwitz, and then to the Bergen-Belsen camp, where she died of typhus in February 1945. Although there are suspicions about who the neighbor who denounced the Franks might have been, their identity was never officially confirmed. 2. The disappearance of Subhas Chandra Bose. Subhas Chandra Bose was an Indian nationalist who had an important participation in the politics of his country during the Second World War. Unlike Gandhi, Chandra Bose was a supporter of revolution through arms, which is why he decided to ally his nationalist party with the Axis forces. With the support of Japan and Germany, Chandra Bose's forces fought the British Empire's occupation of India. According to the official version, the Indian politician died on August 18, 1945, 2 weeks before the end of the war, when the plane in which he was traveling crashed over Taiwan. But his body was never found, and there are several alternative versions. Some propose that he was assassinated by his Axis allies, others by the British, and even a committee formed in 1999 to investigate the case suggested that the plane crash had worked as a cover to guarantee Chandra Bose's escape to the Soviet Union. Neither version has been confirmed, and his fate remains unknown. 3. The Sword of Islam. In 1937, the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini was symbolically named Protector of Islam, a title that guaranteed his absolute authority over the Italian colonies in Libya. On appointment, he was presented with a beautiful sword, with a straight, double-edged blade, carved arabesques, and a solid gold hilt. The weapon quickly became famous as Mussolini's Sword of Islam, but its fate was less glorious than its mark. The curious souvenir was kept in a country house of the fascist leader, in the Emilia-Romagna region. In 1943, an anti-fascist mob ransacked the house, and the Sword of Islam disappeared, never to be seen again. 4. The Mysterious Foo Fighters. Air battles during World War II were terrifyingly tough, but still, enemy planes weren't the only thing American pilots were worried about. During many flights, hundreds of aviators claimed to have seen mysterious and inexplicable lights that followed their aircraft for miles. Before long, every man in the U.S. Air Force spoke of the Foo Fighters, a mistranslation into English of firefighters, as a phenomenon of the European skies. Although these strange beams haunted Americans for years, pilots claimed that the orbs of light never did any harm. 5. The Flag of the Berlin Putsch. One of the most important events during the creation of Nazism was the Berlin Putsch, a rally in a bar in that city, in which Adolf Hitler, along with other leaders of his party, proposed to carry out a coup. As is known, the police intervened in the meeting, which ended with Hitler imprisoned. During the conflict in the bar, a Nazi flag was completely stained with blood, and became one of the symbols of the party. Hitler continued to use the bloody flag until it mysteriously disappeared in 1944. 6. The Amber Room. At the beginning of the 18th century, the Prussian government commissioned the Baroque sculptor Andreas Schluter and the craftsman Gottfried Wolfram to create an amber chamber, made entirely of this material. The walls of the room were covered with 500 kilograms of gold. The entire interior was made up of 6 tons of exquisite pieces of amber and priceless jewels. The chamber was considered the 8th wonder of the world, until during World War II it was dismantled and looted by the German 8th Army, to be relocated to a palace in honor of Hitler. However, the boxes containing the pieces of the original structure were never found, although there are rumors that some works of art were sold on the black market. 7. Goring's cyanide capsule. One of the Nazi leaders put on trial at Nuremberg was Hermann Goring, the commander of the Luftwaffe. This man is remembered for trying to take control of the Reich hours before Hitler ended his own life, and is considered one of the greatest traitors to the Nazi regime. However, Goring was sentenced to death, although he was never hanged. The former commander committed suicide in prison by ingesting a mysterious cyanide capsule. For decades, it was a mystery how Goring had obtained the pill, until, in 2005, one of the guards who guarded him admitted that he had given it to him at the inmate's request. 8. The Mural by unknown author. In the Orkney Islands during World War II, an anonymous artist painted a mural in the hull of a naval emplacement, which served as a bomb shelter for thousands of soldiers and civilians. The work recreates life in a British rural town, and bears the signature of a certain A.R. Woods, although those who tried to find the artist discovered that no Englishman with those initials had ever been stationed in Scotland. The identity of the artist remains unknown to this day. 9. Suspicious numbers. A few weeks before the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, two mysterious ads appearing to promote a game of dice ran in the New Yorker magazine. In the first, two dice could be seen, with the symbols 057, XX, 24 and 2 on their visible faces, and warning texts in several languages, including German. The other ad featured people in a bunker, claiming that dice games was good entertainment to keep busy during lockdown against an air raid. Even today there are those who suspect that these announcements were a coded message from the Axis to forces infiltrated in the United States. 10. The Betrayal against Jean Moulin. In June 1943, the Gestapo interrupted a secret meeting of a group of French revolutionaries, who were ardently fighting the German occupation. Although this happened quite often, this case was very special, since Jean Moulin, the leader of the French resistance, was in that place. The politician was tortured and killed, and his death dealt a terrible blow to the Allied efforts to liberate France. Although it is believed that the Gestapo had followed a recently released militant to the meeting place, many others believe that Moulin was betrayed by a member of the committee he trusted. It is still unknown exactly how the Nazis found the house where Moulin was located. Thank you very much for joining us until the end. Stay tuned for our next video.